Hi everyone, it's Elena again, and I'm back with video number 7, and I'm really excited about it. Before I get started, I just wanted to do a little plug again. There is a growing community of namers on the website retrospring.net, and I am retrospring.net/ElenaJingle, of course. I would really like if you guys would make accounts on there and we could ask and answer each other's name questions. Today's video includes names 70 through 66, and at number 70 was the name Kevin in 2014. Kevin is an English form of an Irish name that means handsome, so it does have a really sweet meaning. This name was actually in my extended favorite boy names list a long time ago. I mean, probably like 5th, 6th, maybe 7th grade. Kevin is a name that is just insanely dated to me. Don't get me wrong, I still think it is an extremely handsome and strong name, but it is definitely a dad name, and in fact I would say it's possibly going to start becoming a grandpa name. When I first started working at a daycare, I think 8 years ago by now, my goodness, there was a little boy there named Kevin, and he made me like that name even more, especially because his younger brother was like my favorite kid in the entire world. I think a lot of people associate this name with the Home Alone movies. Kevin is the name of Macaulay Culkin's character in those movies, and I of course adored those movies as well. And there are several famous actors with this name too, like Kevin Spacey, Kevin Costner, Kevin Bacon. So Kevin entered the top 1,000 boy names in 1921, and it's been in the top 100 since 1949. So actually, it totally is becoming a grandpa name now, when you look at those stats. My first alternative I have for Kevin is KELLAN. KELLAN is a Gaelic name that means slender. I associate this name with a namer. I don't think she'd mind if I said her name, Crystal. She used to make name videos. She has a gorgeous little boy named KELLAN. And I think the average person in 2015 would really strongly associate this name with Kellan Lutz, who was one of the actors from the Twilight Saga, and I think he's just a gorgeous person, and yeah, great association with this name. Kellan was ranked at 385 in 2014, and it's been in the top 1,000 boy names since 2007, so it's very new and fresh, and I just think it's really gorgeous. I think that Kellan would make a great Kevin alternative because it has a super similar sound and feel. And the next alternative I have for Kevin is KELVIN. KELVIN is a Scottish name that means narrow water. KELVIN is the name of a river in Scotland, and of course it's also a temperature measurement name as well. KELVIN was ranked 684 in 2014, and it's been in the top 1,000 boy names since 1950. It doesn't ever get too popular, but it's one of those names that everybody's heard of for sure. And of course I think it would make a great Kevin alternative because they're only one letter different in their spelling and pronunciation. And my last alternative I have for Kevin is Keenan with this spelling. It's a Hebrew name that means nester, kind of interesting name. I really strongly associate this name, and I think probably most 90s kids will as well, with Kenan Thompson from the show Kenan and Kel and all that, and from Saturday Night Live. I think that is a great association, especially because I love that he named his daughter Georgia. I love that. That is so cute. There's also a Kenan in the Old Testament. He was the great-grandson of Adam, the Adam at the beginning of the Bible. If you spell this name C-I-A-N-A-N, it is an Irish name that means little and ancient, so you could always go that route as well. The name Kenan has actually only ever been in the top 1,000 boy names one time, and that was in 1997 at number 968. So surely it got used briefly when Kenan started becoming a household name with the Kenan and Kel show. But I think this name is super accessible, very handsome. I don't know why it's not used more. I think it totally needs to be discovered. I think Kenan makes a great Kevin alternative because they're both 5 letters long, they're both 2 syllables, both start with K-E. Yeah, I think Kenan is a wonderful name. At number 69 in the year 2014 was the name Dominic, which is the English form of Dominicus, really cool name, that means Lord. Dominic has been in the top 100 boy names since 2002, and it's always been in the top 1,000 boy names in the US, so it's a very familiar name with a lot of people. I have several great associations with this name. One of them is kind of personal, but another one is that my younger sister had a best friend named Dominic who went by Nikki when we were growing up, and he was a great kid. He was really funny and clever and just really well behaved, and just a really great association for me personally. There's several celebrities with this name. I always think of Dominic Monaghan, who played Meriadoc or Mary in the Lord of the Rings movies, and he was also in the show Lost. My first alternative I have for Dominic is Domingo. Domingo is the Spanish form of Dominic, so of course means Lord. It's also the Spanish word for Sunday, like the day of the week. There is a new show that I've heard of a little bit but never seen. It's called Fear of the Walking Dead, and there's an actor in there named Coleman Domingo. That's a fun combination. Juan Perón, who was the president of Argentina, who you might recognize better as the husband of Evita Perón, like from the musical. His middle name was Domingo. Juan Domingo Perón. Very cool name. Domingo was actually in the top 1,000 boy names from the years 1902 through 1993, And it did get all the way up at number 462 in the year 1944. So there are definitely going to be some people named Domingo in the US. However, it has not been in the top 1,000 boy names for over 20 years now. So I totally think it's ready for a comeback. Of course, I think Domingo would make a great Dominic alternative because it has the same meaning and origin, it has a similar sound, and of course it could honor a Dominic as well. My next Dominic alternative I have is Domenico. Very cool name. It's the Italian form of Dominic. There was a Domenico Veneziano who was a Renaissance painter. That's a fun name. I just think Domenico is just insanely gorgeous and handsome and so strong. And also names like Leonardo are being used more, so it could definitely fit in well with that. I think Domenico would make a great Dominic alternative because, of course, again, it has the same meaning and origin, similar pronunciation and sound to Dominic, and can honor a Dominic as well. And my last Dominic alternative I have is Yannick or Yannick. This is a Breton form of the name John, which means God is gracious, of course. I really strongly associate this name with my friend Amelia, again, who is Everything Baby Names on YouTube. She has a relative named Yannick with that pronunciation. It's also an actor named Yannick Bison with the Y-A-N-N-I-C-K spelling. And I think the name Yannick would make a great Dominic alternative for its really similar sound, and it's super cool. There aren't that many Y names that are being used, so I would love to meet someone named Yannick or Yannick. At number 68 in the year 2014 was the name Jace, which is actually just an English diminutive of the name Jason, which means physician. I actually always assumed Jace was a name on its own. I didn't realize it was just a nickname. People are also loving the J-A-S-E spelling of this name. It was briefly in the top 100 boy names, and then it left it again in 2014. I think that was probably because of the Jace from the show Duck Dynasty. Really great association for me personally. I really associate Jace with the J-A-C-E spelling with the Mortal Instruments series. I did start reading those books. I didn't care for them very much, but the main male character is named Jace in those books. Jace first entered the top 100 boy names in 2012, and it has been rising ever since then, and it's been in the top 1,000 boy names since 1979, and just a couple other years randomly before that. My first Jace alternative I have is trace. Trace is an English word with several meanings, and one of them means to outline something, of course. I really strongly associate this name with singer Trace Adkins. Very good association for me. I really like the sound of this. I actually also have a hairdresser who has a son named Trace, so I kind of associate that with her, which is good because she's wonderful. Trace was at 762 in the year 2014, and it's been in the top 1,000 boy names since 1990, so it is a new name. I, of course, think Trace makes a great Jace alternative because they're both one syllable and end in that ace sound. Speaking of ace, my next Jace alternative I have is the name Ace, which is an English name that has several meanings, and most of them are really good, like people will use the word ace to mean like a pro or number one or the winner, and it's also a card hand name as well. Singer Jessica Simpson named her son Ace Canute, so you might associate that name with him. I also think of singer Ace Frehley from the band Kiss. My dad listened to a lot of Kiss when I was a little girl, so I used to know everything about the members of the band. This name is also super strongly associated with the Ace Ventura movies. Ace was ranked at 379 in the year 2014, and it entered the top 1,000 boy names in 2006, and it hadn't been in the top 1,000 boy names since 1903, so it had a long lag in use, and it's definitely being used more. And once again, I think Ace would make a great Jace alternative because they're only one letter apart in their spelling and sound. And the last Jace alternative I have is Joss. Joss is a diminutive of a name that means goth. You might recognize this name from director Joss Whedon. I hear his name in the news all the time, and I do think that's a very great association. There's also an actor named Joss Ackland, and his name is short for Jocelyn, which I found very interesting, whereas Joss Whedon, his name is short for Joseph. So Joss has actually never been in the top 1,000 boy names in the US, but I think it makes a great Jace alternative. It has a super similar sound, and they're both diminutives for classic boy names. In one of my last videos I put up, I mentioned that Jose is the most popular Spanish male name in the US, but I was actually wrong because I forgot about number 67, which is Angel or Angel, which is the Spanish or English word for angel. Angel or Angel has been used a lot in the US. It's been in the top 1,000 boy names since 1907. It's been in the top 100 since 1999, and in the year 2006 it was all the way up at number 31. So it has gotten really popular in the US before. I think a lot of people associate this name with the magician Chris Angel, and there is also a football player from the Pittsburgh Steelers named Angel Rubio. I do find it interesting that this name is so popular in the US because I've met Spanish-speaking people with all of the other names that have been in the top 1,000 that have been in my videos that are Spanish names, but I haven't ever met an Angel before. Have any of you met an Angel or an Angel? Let me know in the comments below. My first Angel or Angel alternative is Angelo. Angelo is the Italian word for angel, and it can also be pronounced Angelo for the Spanish speakers. Singer Adele has a son named Angelo. I was super excited when she announced his name because I think that's just perfect for a child of hers. This name is also associated with the dress brand called Alfred Angelo. This was all the way up at 315 in 2014. It is rising, so that's exciting, and it's always been in the top 500 boy names in the US. Of course, I think Angelo or Angelo would make a great Angel or Angel alternative because they're only one letter apart in spelling and pronunciation. Not to mention that Angel could also be a nickname for Angelo. My next alternative I have for the name Angel or Angel is Evangelos. This is a Greek name meaning good news. A really great meaning. It's a form of Evangeline as well, a male form of it. This name could also be pronounced Evangelos for Spanish-speaking namers. This is a very common name in Greece from what I've seen. I of course think Evangelos or Evangelos would make a great Angel or Angel alternative because Angel could be a nickname for Evangelos. My last Angel or Angel alternative I have is Serafino. Serafino is an Italian name meaning fiery one. I think Serafino would be really cool to see on someone, especially because you could use Wraith as a nickname. And there is a comic book that is popular in Italy where the main character is named Serafino, so that's kind of a fun association as well. It could possibly be a room theme for a little boy. I think Serafino makes a great Angel or Angel alternative because they're both celestial related names for boys. And my last name for this video at number 66 in the year 2014 is the name Austin. Austin is an English diminutive of Augustine, which means venerable, of course. Austin is the capital of Texas, the state in the US. There's also famous actor Austin Butler, who is dating Vanessa Hudgens, and the singer Austin Mahoney. You might associate that name with it. My guess is a lot of people, when they think of the name Austin, also think of Austin Powers, which starred Mike Myers, of course. I have known many Austins over the years. I do think this name is dated. I had several in my grade at every school I went to. One of my best friends growing up had a little brother named Austin. The name Austin has always been in the top 1,000 boy names in the US. It's been in the top 100 since 1986, and it's been in the top 10 for 3 years in the 90s as well. So it is definitely overused, but it's going down in popularity. My first Austin alternative I have is August. August is a variant of Augustus, which means venerable again. It's a month name, of course, and I really strongly associate this with the movie August Rush, which I absolutely adore. Lots of celebrities have used this name for their babies. Some have used it for girls, but several have used it for boys as well, like actress Mariska Hargitay, actress Lena Olin, and singer Dave Matthews. August has always been in the top 1,000 boy names in the US. It was in the top 100 from 1880 through 1891. And at 2014, it was up at 242, so it was definitely being used, and I think for good reason. I think it is a gorgeous name, and it's one that I would absolutely use if I didn't have intentions to use other similar names. I think August makes a great Austin alternative because they have the same meaning and they have a similar sound. My next Austin alternative I have is Austin with this spelling. This is a French diminutive of Auguste, which is the French form of August, which means venerable again. I love this spelling of this name because of course I associate it with Jane Austen. I have read all of her novels. I just love her books so much. Austin was in the top 1,000 boy names from the years 1986 through 2006, but it is not being used much anymore. And I think it would just be refreshing to see this spelling over the AUSTIN spelling because of that wonderful Jane Austen association again. Obviously, I think it makes a great Austin alternative because it has the exact same sound. My last Austin alternative I have is Houston. Houston is an English name that means house town, and of course it's a huge city in Texas, just like Austin is as well. People really strongly associate this name, I believe, with singer Whitney Houston. The name Houston has always been in the top 1,000 boy names, and it is going down right now. It's actually all the way up at 931. I think Houston would make a good Austin alternative because they have that similar ending sound, and again, they're both large cities in Texas. That is my last name for this video. I'm hoping to get the next video out this week. We'll see how things go. In the comments below, please let me know what your favorites were of the alternatives that I listed, and if you have any other alternatives for these names that you love that I didn't mention. Thank you so much again for watching. Bye!